Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of the Final Fantasy Legend 2. When we last left off, we just got the Mirror Mask Sword, the first treasure, on floor number 5 here. So we're basically halfway through the nasty dungeon. It has 8 floors, so let's finish off this 5th floor. So, another thing we got in the last episode, not from a treasure chest, but from battle, was the surprise ability. What that means is that we can get preemptive attacks against enemy formations like this one that we just did, as long as any enemy in the formation does not have the warning ability. So Vincent has the warning ability too, so that means in addition to having a chance to have surprise attacks on enemies, we will never be surprise attacked by enemies, because some enemies will have the surprise ability, but that's not going to matter because Vincent has the warning ability. So, got another samurai bow there. Give that to Vincent. Now he has a multi-targeting attack to take out large groups. And we get a unique sword here, the Defend Sword. It's a strength-based weapon, but when you equip it, it increases the robot's defense. So it does damage based on your strength score, but if a mutant uses it, it has a chance to increase the mutant's defense. So it's a unique sword in that sense, but its damage is calculated based on your strength stats. So Honey Mouse will be using it for the defense there, and we'll eventually use it when she starts getting some strength, starts transitioning over into a strength-based robot. It also can function as a shield, so it can block melee attacks. So it has that property as well. So yeah, it's a pretty unique, interesting sword. So let's take out these dinosaurs here. We surprised the dinosaurs. Looks like I was gonna say a Triceratops, but I don't see there the 2 little tiny horns on it. So, but I do hear a Spartacus growling there. He wants my attention. Well, he's actually mad that I'm giving attention right now to my one rat, Durf. So, then we got the Selfix. That is a piece of equipment that you can put on your robot, and if you give that piece of equipment to your robot, it basically gives the robot the recover ability, which means at the end of a round of combat, the robot will gain back 10% of its hit points, but it doesn't give any other stats, no strength, defense, or agility, so not really going to worry about it. So we also got the Wizard Staff there. What that does is it could hit all the enemies in a formation, and it has the chance to cast instant death. So, like most games that feature instant death, the success rate is pretty low, but I'll be using it now because it has a chance to increase, like other rods and spell books, it has the chance to increase Vincent's mana, and it only has 10 uses, so we're getting pretty close to the end of the dungeon, and we're running out of inventory space. So if I get a weapon or an item that doesn't have a lot of uses, I'm going to try to use it up so that, I can get the benefit out of it, but then I can also have a clear inventory space. So let's continue on. We're going to head now down to the 6th floor. This stairway down to the 6th floor is immediately to the south of the entrance to the 5th floor. So, once we get to the 6th floor, we're going to get a whole new type of enemy groups. So, like right now, we're seeing Young Ds. Once we get down to the 6th floor, we're going to get the upgraded Young D, the dragon. So, and because we're getting a higher group of enemies, we'll finally be able to get the meat that we need P to eat to turn into the ice crab, the next level of crab. Ice crabs are also one of the enemies that we will end up meeting on the 6th, 7th, and 8th floor. So we'll get a little bit of a sneak preview of the type of monster that P will be turning into. So, more fire monsters, take them out. No. Look. Easy living. Almost there. There's the stairway. Alright, here we are on the 6th floor. So, like the 2nd floor, secret wall. Walk through it. And here's some new enemies right there. The cockatrice. And the, like cockatrice and the Watcher. Like the cockatrice in mythology, this one can turn you into stone. So, it has that petrifying stone skin. Petrifies is the spell that turns you into stone. Stone skin is an ability that it has that if you hit it with a melee attack, it's going to counter with that a stone spell. So you might want to just attack them with spells or like a gun weapon. You attack them with a melee weapon like a martial art or a sword, and then you can counter that counter ability. And I didn't even realize that Vincent had a stone gaze himself, but he just lost that for the heal ability. The heal ability will be good if we get turned into stone, because the heal ability removes any negative status ailments that a character may suffer. Status ailments such as the stone. Now we do have one stone some soft potions which remove stone, so we may end up using them just to, like I said, once again clear up inventory space. So, Tengu there, now on the left. Well, yeah, not getting too much success out of that wizard staff. So, wouldn't get any success out of the defense sword there, because Honey Mouse still doesn't have any strength. She'll start getting some strength by the end of this episode, because there's there's a good strength sword coming up. So, Ronk. Alright. Well, let's keep on heading down, do another false wall over there to the right. The Chimera enemy on the right there has that warning ability, so that means that cancels out Vincent's surprise ability. So, yeah, if we run into a group with a Chimera in it, yeah, we won't be able to get that free attack on it, but interesting. It also has the 3 heads ability. Now, that ability has been fixed in this game. In the last game, Final Fantasy Legend 1, it was broken because it was one of the abilities that was on Ashura, who was the second to last boss, the penultimate boss, the leader of the 4 fiends. And in order to make him a little harder, they buffed the damage calculations that 3 heads used. But they didn't just buff it just for Ashura, they buffed it for anybody who used 3 heads. So if you had a monster with 3 heads, well, you got lucky and you can do a lot of damage. So you just saw the wizard staff, what that can do. You waste that entire group of dragons. So I'd say it's kind of a high risk, high reward, but yeah, there's not really much of a high risk to using the wizard staff. I mean, if it doesn't work, you only just lost like 1 round of combat. So, and your other characters are doing damage, and so it's not like it's that bad. Wow, Linus has broken 700 hit points. Yeah, I told you we're gonna get a lot of stat increases here. Won't worry about healing up P. P can heal himself up with his touch ability. Steals hit points off of enemies and uses them. Speaking of P, P is gonna turn into an ice crab eventually. We get to see the stats that P will have there. It has the standard W pincer, but it also gets a multi-targeting attack, Blizzard. And we've seen Blizzard, that's the same type of spell that Vincent started out with. Hits every enemy on the screen, so. So, Ice Crab waiting for the attack. It has a counter ability like the Cockatrice has, Paraskin, but it doesn't turn you into stone. Paraskin paralyzes you. So, Sorcerer, they have a bunch of books. It'd be nice to win some. Not now, of course, because inventory is kind of inventory space is at a premium now. But yeah, the wizards were or wizard type enemies, sorcerer type enemies were good to meet at the beginning of the game because books are more expensive, relative to the money that you're winning, winning from monster battles. So, but right now we're winning so much money, we have so much treasure that buying a spell book is nothing. It doesn't put any dent. So, speaking of spells, you have a magic potion. If push comes to shove, I can use that, but I'm saving that for potentially after the dungeon. Remember, every time you use a potion, it increases your stats, but that just makes it harder to gain stats in the future because the game's already looking at you and being like, oh, you already have, the +3 stats of the potion, so that'll affect the calculation in terms of getting the next stat increase, so. But if inventory space becomes that much of a premium, we'll use it. So, try to save as long as possible, try to gain as many stats organically before we rely on artificially inflating them with potions that we got. Got a lot of potions back on the second floor, so, which is like this floor and had a lot of false walls. There's the F flower, we ran into them, well, quite some time ago, but didn't really put its stats up. It's basically kind of a weakest enemy, so save it for last. Thorn's just a regular single attack. Poison, that's basically pointless. It does a small amount of damage. So, probably the weakest enemy. You don't really have to worry about focusing on it, so. We got another Judo down to 1 use. We'll have Honey Mouse use it up and get that increased agility and increased hit points from it, and then we can remove it and put something else there. Probably a strength-based weapon. Parasuit, basically the best armor in the game. Unfortunately, you can only get 2 of them, and it takes up all the slots in your armor. So if you equip the Parasuit, it takes the head, the body, the gauntlet, and the boot section. So Vincent will never be able to equip another piece of armor. But that's okay because the Parasuit is extremely powerful. It gives plus 15 to strength, plus 15 to agility. It gives the resistances that the dragon army gives, strong against fire, lightning, ice, and poison. And it gives 73 defense total. So if you use the strongest armor, all the armor in the game, the strongest ones in the game, you would use the Arthur armor, which we'll be picking up shortly, the Hakate boots, the ninja gauntlets, and then the dragon helm. And if you use all of them, you'll only end up getting 67 defense. So you'll have 6 less defense than the Parasuit. You won't get the plus 15 strength, plus 15 agility, and you also won't have the resistances, because instead of the dragon armor, you usually be the Arthur armor. Arthur armor does give invulnerability to stone, but stone is so infrequently used that it's better to have the strong, the immunity to ice, lightning, fire, and poison. Yeah, the poison type element, so. Yeah, and if you use the dragon armor, yeah, that's 57 defense, so you still have all those resistances, but you'd have even 10 less defense. So yeah, Parasuit really good. Obviously, one of them is going to go on Vincent, as it already has, and the other one will eventually go on Linus. So we also picked up some other interesting weapons there. The Vampix sword, it basically functions as a touch-based weapon. You hit an enemy with it, and it can drain their hit points like a vampire. He can heal your character as it damages enemies. it deals damage with your strength, so we will not be having Vincent use it. So because we artificially inflated his strength with the trash can glitch. So, but you'll probably just end up selling that. One weapon we will be using though is the Psi Gun. There, it's a good gun. It deals damage based on your mana. Like other guns, it can cut through shields and defensive abilities like shell, defense that like some robots and the sword type enemies use. So yeah, it's a and if your mana stat is high enough, it can actually end up doing more damage than guns like the laser gun, which basically does a set value of around 300 to 350 damage. So. And unlike the laser gun, the PSI gun attacks an entire group, so yeah, it can take out, can I guess in a sense rival the samurai bow. Oh, Honey Mouse got turned to stone again. Ugh, poor Honey Mouse. I guess that just lets our characters, our other characters have a chance to use their abilities and potentially gain some stats. Guess you can put Vincent's heal spell to use after this, if we want. Don't heal it up. But, yep, see, it removes irregular status effects. Poor Honey Mouse keeps getting turned into stone. Now Honey Mouse can equip the Arthur armor and be strong against stone, but we don't really have a lot of armor slots for her. So, and we don't want to replace either the Ninja Gauntlet or the Dragon armor. Yes, robots can equip multiple pieces of armor, but we don't really want to do that. We'll keep her defense as is, which is those 2 pieces of armor, and the defense sword, because that's raising her defense as well. Linus got some new agility, that's good. Oh, right before we headed out to the 7th floor, we get into another fight. Boo. Well, that's the way that RPGs always work. Right whenever you want to get somewhere, the random encounter rate is going to go up. And when you're wanting to fight enemies and, for raising money, raising gold, raising experience, for whatever reason you have for wanting to fight, then all of a sudden the game will be like, oh, you want to get into fights? Oh, we're not going to let you get into fights. So it's like the game can read your mind. So but I guess it's like that with life in general. I guess a lot of stuff like that happens, kind of reminds me of, when you want to find something, like say, like I for instance, I just, we got some snow the other day, and we don't usually get a lot of snow in Virginia, but we got some snow, so, I had to go scrape off the windshields in my car, and I was like, where are my heavy winter gloves? I looked all around and couldn't find them, so, but I guarantee you, they come summertime, when I don't need heavy winter gloves, I won't even be looking for them, and they'll pop up. So, Honey Mouse got her first strength weapon there, the Dragon Sword. We're gonna get another sword on this floor, the Sun Sword, that is a little bit stronger than the Dragon Sword in terms of strength increase. I think the Dragon Sword gives plus 26 to strength. The Sun Sword gives plus 32. It's tied with the Gungnir Spear and Excalibur for giving the most strength of weapons. So, but with all that agility weapons that and martial arts that Honey Mouse has been getting and removing one of the removing the laser, which gave an agility boost, won't really hurt her agility. She'll still end up having max agility, even when we replace all these agility weapons with strength weapons. So, we just pass down the laser gun to Vincent. Yeah, I don't really like to use guns. Now the Psi gun can raise your mana stat, so that's a gun that is fine to use. But laser guns and projectile guns like muskets, magnums, submachine guns, tanks, volt cannons, missiles, they don't really raise any stats, so tend not to use them. But I want to clear up some inventory space, and there's only 7 uses left on that laser gun, so it's a good thing to just use to get rid of. So you might run into an enemy that has a shield, so it'll give Vincent something to do. I don't feel like using one of his spells or other abilities, so we got a split in the road there, a fork in the road. Taking the right one first, because that's going to lead to some treasure, and then we'll have to backtrack to the pathway north that leads further into the dungeon, to the final floor. So probably should have cut the video right then and there, but I'm going to go a little bit longer, just because I want to be able to finish this nasty dungeon in the next video. So, and floor 8 is a pretty big floor, so save a big one for the final floor. So just try to get as much as this floor taken care of as possible. So we got some 3 treasures this way. Karate, the best martial art in the game. And then we get that sun sword. It'll boost Honey Mouse's strength up to 58. There we go. We place it with a tank there. Honey Mouse is going to be getting the the Gungnir Spear in the next level. So she will once again get a multi-targeting attack. And Vincent and Linus already have multi-targeting attacks with the samurai bow, and P also has a multi-targeting attack with the ice spell. So it's not like our party is hurting for multi-targeting attacks like it was back in the first, second world, when more like the second and third world, when all we had was the submachine gun and Honey Mouse. So our characters have gotten much stronger and able to better handle larger groups of enemies. So Honey Mouse started to use that defense sword there, not doing as much damage as an agility-based weapon because strength is only 58 instead of 99 like agility, but defend can function as a shield, so maybe we'll get to potentially see that. You might get an attack where it says, blocked, defended against blank with defense sword. It can only defend against melee attacks, but quite a few of these enemies have melee attacks. Dragon has bite, the flower has thorn, the Tengu has nail, so I should be using touch. I don't know why I didn't use touch there. P is at really low hit points. And Vincent gets to shoot a tank. In basic training, the top marksman got to shoot an anti-tank missile at a tank, a hollowed-out, blown-up tank. So I was not the high marksman in my basic training. So I got, I believe, 28 out of the 40 targets. So it was enough to qualify my rifle, which you had to do, but not enough to gain a badge other than the marksman badge, the lowest badge. But that's where we'll end it here, and I'll talk about that hyper cannon in the next episode. Take care, have a good one, see you then. Bye!